The night on the frozen moon of Tarsus. 9 was always cold, always dark, and always far too quiet. Rian, a 23-year-old human mechanic, walked through the scrapyard with his toolbox shaking in his hand. He had worked in many dirty, strange places before, but this one felt wrong. Like the shadows were watching him breathe. Broken ships lay everywhere, their metal bodies half buried in the snow. Old engines, rusted cannons, cracked helmets, alien claws, everything was dumped here. The scrapyard was the final stop for dead machines and forgotten creatures. Rian was hired to repair only one thing: the massive power generator that kept the yard running. Easy job, he thought. Quick money. Nothing dangerous. He was wrong. Very wrong. The workers here avoided talking to him. They whispered with fear in their eyes. And every time he passed the cages on the east side, they gave the same warning. Never open cage 12. They said it quietly. They said it with shaking hands. Some even made weird alien signs for protection. Rian laughed at first, thinking they were exaggerating. But after 3 nights in this place, he was not laughing anymore. Cage 12 was not like the others. It was made of old starship armor. It had burn marks, claw marks, and strange silver stains on the metal. And inside it, he always felt something watching him. Every night, Rian heard a soft sound from that cage. Not a growl, not a roar. Something worse. Something sad. A cry. Tonight, the moon storms were weak, so the yard was quiet. Too quiet. Rian finished repairing the generator early and should have returned to his small technician room. But that cry again, a small, pained sound, pulled him toward the cages. He walked slowly, the snow crunching under his boots. A cold wind blew across the metal ruins, making them creak like ghosts stretching their legs after a long sleep. When Rian reached cage 12, he stopped. His heart punched his ribs. The cry came again. He stepped closer and switched on his small flashlight. The light hit the cage bars and then slipped through into the darkness inside. At first, Rian saw nothing. Then he saw a shape, the pale outline of wings. Large wings. Broken wings. Something shifted. Something breathed. Something alive. He whispered, "Hello? Are you hurt?" The creature inside lifted its head very slowly. The movement was heavy, like it cost painful effort. Then Rian saw the eyes, silver eyes glowing in the dark, full of fear and exhaustion. The creature was covered in white scales, but they were dull, dirty, damaged. One wing dragged on the ground. The other was folded, but twisted, clearly broken long ago. Only one creature in galaxy lore looked like this. An albino dragon. Rian's breath caught. A rare creature. A powerful creature. A creature everyone feared, because albino dragons were said to be unpredictable and brutal. But this one looked nothing like a monster. It looked like a prisoner. The dragon blinked slowly. It did not growl, did not roar. It only watched him, and Rian felt something strange. Not fear, not danger. Something like trust. He knelt down carefully, putting his flashlight on the ground, letting the soft light fill the cage. "What happened to you?" he whispered. The dragon tried to move its wing, but pain pushed a small sound out of its throat. Not an angry sound, a painful one. Rian felt a cold punch in his chest. He hated seeing anything hurt. For a moment, he forgot all the warnings. He forgot the fear. He forgot the rules. He only saw a creature suffering alone in the dark. Then, a loud alarm blasted across the yard. Rian jumped to his feet. Red lights flashed over the broken metal piles, over the snow, over the cages. The ground shook as heavy steps approached from the main gate. Voices shouted, "The buyer is coming. Prepare cage 12. Move. Quickly. Boss wants the creature alive. Don't let any worker near it." Rian froze. Buyer? Alive? Who would buy a paralyzed dragon? His stomach twisted. Nothing good ever came from buyers in places like this. The dragon looked at him again. Its silver eyes were full of fear this time, and Rian felt something shift inside him, something he didn't expect. A spark, a decision forming before he even understood it. The dragon whispered, voice weak and shaking, "No, take." It was asking for help, begging him. Rian swallowed hard. He was just a mechanic, not a soldier, not a hero, but he could not walk away. Footsteps thundered closer. Shouts got louder. Metal doors opened. Searchlights flashed. If they took this creature, it would never see daylight again. And Rian knew it. He reached for the cage lock with shaking hands. His mind screamed, "Don't do it." His heart whispered, "Do it now." Another alarm sounded. Guards were less than 30 seconds away. Rian looked once more into the dragon's eyes and unlocked cage 12. The sound of the unlocking echoed like thunder in the cold air. He whispered, voice trembling, "Let's get you out of here." The dragon lowered its head, trusting him completely. And the real story began. The dangerous rescue. Snow blew into Rian's face as he pulled the cage door open. The albino dragon tried to shift, but its body collapsed again. Its wings dragged across the ground like dead branches. Its long tail left shaky lines in the frost. The creature could not walk. Rian's breath turned sharp. How did they expect to transport you like this? He didn't get time to think. Voices were getting closer, fast, angry, and armed. Check every cage. If anyone touched 12, shoot on sight. The buyer wants proof the creature is still breathing. Rian felt his stomach twist. He grabbed the dragon's cold scales. Come on, we need to move." The dragon tried to stand again, but its legs trembled like thin wires ready to snap. It dropped forward, breathing sharp, painful breaths. Rian scanned the yard. There was no way they could outrun the guards like this. No way they could hide in the open. Snow was too thin to cover tracks. He needed wheels. Or hover. He sprinted to a nearby scrap pile and saw a half-broken maintenance hover sled. It was old, cracked, and missing 2 stabilizers, but it had 1 working engine. "Please don't explode," he muttered and slapped the starter panel. The engine coughed, then sparked, then hummed to life. He grinned. Good enough. He dragged the sled to the cage, heart racing. The dragon stared at him with confused, tired eyes. Rian pointed at the sled. "I know it looks terrible, but it works. I promise." The dragon didn't argue. It probably didn't have energy to argue. Rian braced himself, slid his arms under the dragon's weakened body, and tried lifting. The creature was heavy, heavier than anything he had ever lifted. But he didn't stop. With shaking legs and burning muscles, he pushed the dragon onto the hover sled. Just as he strapped the dragon down, flashlights, voices, footsteps. The guards had reached the next row of cages. "Move now," Rian whispered. He jumped onto the front of the sled and pressed the throttle. The hover sled jerked forward, wobbling dangerously as the engine struggled. The dragon's wing dragged through the snow, sending silver-white flakes flying. The sled swayed left, wobbled right, nearly tipped over. "Stay with me," Rian hissed, slapping the side of the engine. A small burst of power steadied it. "Good. For now." They slid into the darker part of the yard, old maintenance tunnels built when the facility was larger. Most workers avoided this area. Even the shadows felt forgotten, perfect for hiding. Behind them, guards reached cage 12. "The cage is open. Find the human mechanic. He's the only outsider here. The buyer will kill us if the dragon escapes." Rian froze for half a second. Buyer again. Whoever wanted the dragon wasn't just some collector. This much panic meant danger on a whole different level. He pushed the sled harder. Metal beams overhead groaned. Steam hissed from broken pipes. The tunnel lights flickered, some dead, some flashing like dying stars. The dragon shifted slightly on the sled, whispering, "Why human help?" Rian didn't look back. His eyes stayed on the dark path ahead. "Because no one else will," he said quietly. There was silence, then a soft, weak exhale from the dragon. Not pain, not anger, something like surprise. But the moment didn't last long. A sudden explosion rocked the yard. Boom! The tunnel behind them lit up in bright orange. Guards shouted as flames spread through broken fuel barrels. "They're burning the entrance," Rian said. "They're trying to trap us inside." He pressed the throttle again. But the hover sled's engine sputtered. "Not now. Not now. Not now." He slammed the control panel. The engine coughed again and then stabilized, but it was weaker. The tunnel opened into a large underground hangar, old, abandoned, filled with broken starship parts and shadows moving like ghosts. Perfect place for trouble. Rian guided the sled behind a rusted cargo hauler. Both he and the dragon were breathing fast. The dragon's eyes dimmed, and Rian touched its scales lightly. We're almost safe. I need a minute to fix the engine. The dragon closed its eyes as if saving every bit of strength. Rian opened the sled engine panel and hissed. The stabilizers were overheating. Wires were melting like cheese on a hot grill. He pulled out his tools and worked fast. Sparks jumped. Metal burned his hands. But he didn't stop. Then, a soft mechanical click echoed in the darkness. Rian looked up slowly. From the shadows stepped a tall alien hunter with a mask shaped like broken armor. Its glowing red visor focused on Rian. It lifted a shock rifle. Rian stood protectively in front of the dragon, even though he had nothing but a wrench. The hunter tilted its head. A human protecting the albino, the voice said through the mask. Strange choice. Rian's heart hammered, but he stepped forward anyway. You're not taking it. The hunter chuckled coldly. That creature is worth more than a battle cruiser. Do you really think you can stop me? Behind Rian, the dragon's tail twitched weakly. Rian lifted his wrench higher. Try me. The hunter aimed a rifle, and then the ground shook as the dragon forced itself to rise on the sled. Its breath came out in a cold white mist. Its silver eyes glowed brighter than before, full of danger, anger, and something fierce. The hunter stepped back. Impossible. The dragon wasn't supposed to move at all. Rian whispered, Easy, easy, don't fall. But the dragon raised its head and growled, low and threatening. Even weak, even broken, its presence filled the hangar like thunder. The hunter hesitated, then aimed again, and the dragon spoke a single word, shaking the air. Run! Not to Rian, to the hunter. For the first time, the hunter obeyed. It ran, leaving Rian and the dragon alone in the dark hangar, both breathing hard, both realizing the same thing. This escape was only the beginning. The mechanic's secret workshop. The underground hangar was silent again, but Rian felt the silence shaking. It was the kind of silence right before a storm hits. Heavy, tense, dangerous. The albino dragon lay back on the hover sled, its breath sharp, wings trembling from the effort it had just made. Rian knelt beside it. You okay? He asked softly. The dragon closed its silver eyes for a moment. Weak but alive. Alive was good. Alive meant hope. Alive meant they still had a chance. Rian patched the sled's wires as fast as his frozen fingers would allow. He kept glancing toward the tunnel entrance, expecting more hunters, more guards, more trouble. But no one came. Not yet. When the sled engine finally hummed again, he whispered, All right, let's get you somewhere safe. The dragon didn't reply, but its tail curled slightly, like a silent agreement. Rian guided the sled deeper into the hangar. Old lights flickered above them, glowing dim gold against the metal walls. Past broken cargo crates. Past giant ship engines older than Rian's grandparents. Past forgotten machines that once touched stars. At the far end stood an old transport ship, rusted, dusty, half buried in tools and spare metal plates. Its door was open just enough for a human to slip in. Most workers ignored this ship. They thought it was useless. To Rian, it was home. He slid open the door wider and pushed the hover sled inside. The dragon's eyes glowed faintly as it looked around. This is your nest? The dragon asked weakly. Rian laughed softly. Yeah, don't judge it. It's messy, but it's safe. The dragon didn't judge. It simply breathed in slowly, as if feeling the warmth of the small workshop. Inside the ship, tool sets hung on walls. Wires lay scattered, and half-fixed machines rested everywhere like sleeping beasts. Rian's small bed sat in the corner, next to a heater that barely worked. Rian parked the sled beside a large repair table and sat down heavily. His heart finally slowed a little. We made it, he whispered. The dragon opened its eyes again. Pain lived in every breath it took. Its wings were bent in unnatural angles, scales bruised and cracked. Its spine had collapsed long ago, leaving its back stiff and twisted. Rian swallowed. They hurt you this much, why? The dragon's voice was soft, rough like stones rubbing. Captured during battle. Shot from sky. Wings broke. Hunters caged me, sold me. No sky, no clan, only darkness. Its voice faded. Rian felt heat in his chest. Not anger, something deeper. Something heavy and unfair. You deserve better, he said quietly. A lot better. The dragon looked at him for a long moment. Its silver eyes softened the tiniest bit. Humans strange, it murmured. Rian chuckled. You have no idea. He stood and moved through the workshop. He checked his toolboxes, the shelves, the drawers, searching for anything he could use. Metal braces, wiring, energy joints, support rods, old medical AI tools. He had scraps of everything, but he needed to build something no one had built before. He turned back to the dragon. If your wings can't heal naturally, then I'll fix them myself. The dragon blinked slowly. Fix wings? Yes. I can build support for your spine. New joints. Mechanical braces. Something to help you stand. Maybe more. He said it with confidence, but inside, fear twisted his thoughts. Could he actually do it? Could a broken dragon fly again? The dragon lowered its head. No creature can heal my damage. Too deep. Too old. Maybe not heal, Rian replied. But rebuild? That we can try. The dragon watched him carefully, as if trying to understand this strange human who kept offering hope where none existed. Rian grabbed a small scanner and moved gently around the dragon's body. The dragon didn't flinch. It trusted him more than before. The scanner beeped softly. Spine, fractured in 3 places. Wing joints, crushed. Muscles, weak. Nerves, damaged. Movement, almost impossible. Rian felt his breath leave him. Any sane mechanic would give up. Any smart person would walk away. But Rian wasn't smart in the usual way. He was stubborn. I can work with this, he said, even though it wasn't true. It'll take time. And a miracle. The dragon let out a weak laugh, short, dry, painful. Humans chase miracles? Only on good days. Rian smiled. Outside the ship, the wind howled, loud and cold. Something heavy banged against the hangar wall. Rian froze. The dragon raised its head weakly. More hunters. Maybe, Rian said. Or maybe the storm. But either way, we need to be ready. He dimmed the workshop lights and covered the window. Shadows swallowed the small room. We'll need food, water, power cells, and time, Rian said. Lots of time, and we'll have to stay hidden. They're not giving up on you. The dragon's eyes narrowed. Why risk so much for me? Rian didn't look up. He kept gathering tools, wires, metal plates. Because I don't like seeing good things destroyed, he answered simply. The dragon breathed slowly, deep, thoughtful. I was broken, it whispered. Forgotten. Alone. Rian placed a gentle hand on the creature's cold scales. You're not alone now. Something changed in the air after those words. It wasn't magic. It wasn't destiny. Just 2 broken beings finding each other in the ruins of the galaxy. But that was enough to start something powerful. Rian stepped back and cracked his knuckles. All right. First, we fix your spine. Then your wings. Then, the dragon finished the sentence for him. Then I fly again. Rian grinned. Exactly. Outside, another metallic thud echoed, closer this time. A shadow moved near the hangar door. Someone or something was out there, and Rian realized their time was already running out. But he wasn't stopping. Not now. Not ever. The dragons passed. The workshop felt warmer now. Not because the heaters suddenly worked, but because the albino dragon's presence filled the space like a dim, powerful light. Rian worked quietly beside it, tightening bolts and shaping metal pieces for the spine brace. The dragon watched him, its breathing slow and heavy. For the first time, Rian noticed something in the creature's eyes besides pain. Something old, something broken, something hiding a story too large for one lifetime. He hesitated. You don't have to tell me, he said, but I want to understand what they did to you. The dragon didn't answer at first. Its wings shifted painfully. Its tail curled. Its claws tapped faintly on the metal floor. At last, it spoke in a low, tired voice. My name was Zephyron. Rian blinked. Was? Yes, the dragon whispered. A name dies when its sky is taken. Rian felt a slow chill crawl down his spine. Zephyron's voice grew quiet, almost distant, as if remembering hurt more than the wounds themselves. In my world, albino dragons are rare. Born with silver eyes. Born with the gift to read the wind, the storms, the sky. My clan believed I would lead them one day. Rian stopped working, listening. But our enemies feared me. They feared my birth, my color, my wings. The night I reached adulthood, they attacked. We met them in the high clouds. Fire, light, screams. I led the charge. The dragon's voice crackled like old lightning. I was strong until the shot. Rian swallowed. A shot. An energy spear pierced my back. It burned through bone. I fell far. The sky left me. Rian clenched his jaw. The scanner had shown the exact path of that injury. When I woke, Zephyron continued, my wings were broken. My clan believed I died. Enemy hunters found me first. They wanted my scales, my blood, my bones. Everything albino dragons have is valuable. Rian's hands tightened around his tools. Zephyron's silver eyes dimmed. They took me, sold me, caged me, moved me from planet to planet. No sky, no hope, only darkness. And pain so deep, I wished for death. A heavy silence settled between them. Rian looked at the dragon, not with fear, but with something fiercer, rage mixed with compassion. You didn't deserve any of that, he said softly. Zephyron lowered its head. I was ready to fade away, ready to stop breathing. But you unlocked the cage. Rian didn't know what to say. You gave me something I thought was gone, the dragon whispered. A chance. For a long moment, nothing moved. Nothing breathed except the two of them. Then, a loud crack echoed outside. Rian jumped. Zephyron's wings twitched sharply. The noise came again, metal bending, twisting. Someone was outside the hangar. Not the wind. Not an animal. Heavy. Purposeful. Close. Rian shut off his tools and killed the workshop lights. The ship interior plunged into darkness. Only a faint silver glow came from Zephyron's eyes. Stay quiet, Rian whispered. Zephyron nodded slowly. They listened. Another metallic slam. Then dragging footsteps. Steel scraping across the ground. Rian peeked through a small crack in the ship door. A shadow moved across the hangar floor, tall, bulky, carrying something long and sharp. Not a guard. Not the hunter from before. Something worse. Zephyron's voice trembled just slightly. That scent. I know it. You know them? Yes, the dragon whispered. They hunted me before. They wanted my wings. They will not stop until they have them. Rian felt ice enter his veins. He wasn't dealing with random guards anymore. This was personal. This was deadly. The shadow stopped right outside the workshop door. A deep voice growled. I know you're in there, human. You stole what belongs to us. Rian pressed his back against the metal wall. He silently signaled Zephyron to stay down. The hunter spoke again, amusement in its tone. Cage 12 wasn't for show. It was for a prize. And you opened it like a fool. Zephyron's tail flicked with anger. Rian whispered, don't move. The door handle rattled, then twisted. Rian grabbed the largest wrench he had. His heart pounded in his chest like a war drum. The door didn't open, but the hunter spoke through it, voice cold and sharp. Enjoy your time in the dark. The buyer is on the way, and none of you will leave this moon alive. Footsteps faded. Silence returned. But this silence wasn't peaceful. It was a countdown. Rian exhaled shakily and sat down beside Zephyron. The dragon turned its head toward him. You are in danger because of me, Zephyron said. Rian shook his head. No, I'm in danger because cruel people exist. You're just someone they hurt. Zephyron stared at him for a long time. Then, in a quiet voice full of something powerful, it said, when I had a sky, I protected my own. If I ever fly again, I will protect you. Rian's chest tightened. You will fly again, he said. I'm not giving up. Outside, thunder rolled. Not from weather, but engines. Large engines. Landing engines. The buyer had arrived. Zephyron whispered, they come for me. Rian wiped the sweat from his forehead. Let them come, he said, jaw set. We'll be ready. The dragon's silver eyes glowed bright in the dark. For the first time since its fall from the sky, Zephyron felt something stronger than pain. hope, and a burning need to rise again. The first flight attempt. The workshop lights flickered as the ship shook again. Not from footsteps this time, but from something far heavier. Engines thundered outside, shaking snow loose from the hangar ceiling. The buyer had arrived. And whoever they were, they came in something big. Rian didn't look out the window. He didn't need to. The vibrations told him enough. Zephyron watched him silently as he placed the last metal plates on the table. "You are nervous," the dragon said softly. "Of course I'm nervous," Rian whispered. "They want you dead, and they probably want me crushed into a fine paste." Zephyron blinked. "Yet you continue." "Yeah," Rian muttered. "I'm weird like that." He pulled the newly constructed spinal brace toward him. It was rough, scratched, uneven, and probably unsafe, but it was the best he could build inside a broken ship with dying tools. Zephyron stared at it with unreadable eyes. "This will help me rise." "It's a start," Rian said. "It'll support your back. If it works, you'll be able to stand for a few seconds." Zephyron's throat rumbled. "Few seconds, more than I had in years." There was no pride in that sentence. Only hunger. A deep, desperate hunger for the life stolen from him. Rian grabbed his welding gear. "Okay, let's begin." The procedure. Rian worked slowly, carefully fitting the metal brace along Zephyron's twisted spine. The dragon flinched whenever metal touched bone, but didn't pull away. "Tell me if the pain is too much," Rian said. Zephyron breathed out a soft, weak chuckle. "Human, I have survived firestorms. I can survive you." Rian smirked. Not exactly comforting, but sure. He welded the clamps in place, each spark lighting the dragon's silver scales. Zephyron's claws dug into the floor. Not from anger, endurance. When Rian finished, sweat dripped from his forehead. "Okay," he said. "Try moving." Zephyron took a breath. A deep one. A scared one. Then, the dragon pushed its weight onto its legs. At first, nothing happened. Its limbs shook. Muscles trembled. Rian leaned forward, whispering, "Come on, come on." Zephyron squeezed its claws tighter. The metal brace creaked. Then, the dragon rose. Only a little, only a few inches, but it rose. Rian's eyes widened. "You're standing." Zephyron's silver eyes glowed brighter than any workshop lamp. I feel the floor again." The moment lasted only seconds. Then the brace sparked. Zephyron stiffened. The sparks turned into a jolt. "Not good, not good," Rian shouted. The brace exploded in a burst of white-blue sparks. Zephyron roared in pain, collapsing back onto the sled. The ship shook with the force of his fall. "Zephyron!" Rian rushed forward. The dragon groaned, smoke rising from its back. "I failed you," Zephyron whispered. "No," Rian said firmly. "The brace failed. Not you." Zephyron looked at him with deep shame. "I cannot stand. I cannot be fixed. You should leave. Save yourself." Rian grabbed the dragon's face gently with both hands. "Look at me," he said. "Look at me." The dragon's silver eyes lifted. "You moved," Rian said. "That means you can move again. We're not done." "But the brace." "I'll build another." "But the buyer." "I don't care." Zephyron stared at him for a long, silent moment. Then something changed. A flame lit behind his eyes. A belief. A promise. "You stay," Zephyron said softly. "You fight for me." "And I'll keep fighting," Rian replied. The moment was powerful, but did not last long. The hunter returns. Heavy footsteps thundered outside again, closer than before. Rian's breath hitched. Zephyron tensed. They return. Rian peeked through a crack. This time he saw them clearly. 3 armored hunters, masks glowing red, weapons ready. They scanned the hangar with long-range trackers. Not guards. Not thugs. Professionals. Ruthless. Experienced. Paid to kill dragons. One of them looked directly at the ship. Its visor glowed brighter. Rian froze. "They know," he whispered. Zephyron lifted his head. "Then we face them." "No," Rian said. "Not yet. Not like this. You can barely move." Zephyron shifted painfully. "You are correct. But I will not be caged again." Rian stepped back from the window. His mind raced. He needed time. He needed to rebuild the brace. He needed to keep Zephyron hidden. But time was slipping. The hunters were spreading out. Scanning. Closing in. The heart cracks, the spark ignites. Rian threw tools aside, searching for stronger metal, better wiring, anything to rebuild the brace. His hands shook, not from fear but fury. Zephyron watched him. "You do this even though you may die," the dragon said quietly. Rian didn't answer immediately. He hammered a piece of metal until it bent into shape. "Finally," he said, "no one helped you. Not once. Not ever. And that's wrong. I'm not fixing a machine, Zephyron. I'm fixing a life that others tried to destroy." Zephyron stared at him as if seeing him for the first time. "You are strange," Zephyron whispered. "I get that a lot." Another thud echoed through the hangar. Closer, louder, sharper. Rian tightened the next metal plate. Zephyron's eyes glowed like burning moons. "Human," he said quietly, "if I rise again, I will rise with you." Rian swallowed. "Then we better hurry, because they're almost here." A deep metallic roar echoed outside. The hunters had found the ship, and Part 5 ended not in failure, but in a spark strong enough to start storm. Enemies returned. The metal walls of the hangar vibrated again, this time not from footsteps, but from a heavy impact, like something huge smashing against the entrance. Rian froze. Zephyron lifted his head, silver eyes sharp. A deep, mechanical voice echoed. "Open the ship door. Now." Rian grabbed a wrench with shaking hands. It wasn't a weapon, but it was all he had. Zephyron lowered his wings as much as his broken joints allowed. "They found us." No, they weren't just hunters now. Rian peeked through the crack again and felt his chest tighten. Not 3 hunters anymore. Not even 6. A full strike team, armored, armed, eyes glowing red. And behind them, a giant hover transport, black as midnight, with a buyer's mark painted across the side, a symbol shaped like a broken crown. Rian whispered, "We need more time. I'm not done building the brace." Zephyron didn't move. "Time is gone." The ship door rattled again. "Last warning, human," the voice hissed. "Give us the dragon, and we might let you live." Rian swallowed. "Yeah, I don't like your might." Then the door exploded inward. Metal shards flew. The lights flickered into darkness. Dust filled the air like smoke. Rian fell back, coughing. Zephyron roared. A deep, painful roar that shook the air. 3 armored hunters marched in, rifles glowing. "Step away from the creature," one commanded. Zephyron tried to lift himself, but the broken spine and damaged wings forced him back down. His claws scraped the metal floor. His body trembled. Rian stepped between them. "No," he said quietly. The hunter tilted his masked head. "Move, human." Rian's voice cracked, but he didn't back down. "I won't." The hunter raised his rifle. Zephyron growled, a low, thunderous sound that came from deep inside his chest. His scales shivered, sparks of silver light flickering along his spine. The hunters aimed at Rian first, because they knew, break the human, break the dragon's spirit. But Rian didn't step aside. "Shoot me," he said. "You touch him, you go through me." Zephyron's eyes widened. A strange, hot light flickered behind them. One hunter laughed. "Very well." The rifle powered up. Rian shut his eyes. Zephyron roared, a sound filled with rage, pain, and something ancient. It wasn't a roar of strength, but a roar of refusal. A roar saying, "No more cages, no more cruelty, no more suffering." And something inside Zephyron snapped awake. Silver energy sparked through his scales. His claws glowed. His tail lifted with a strength he shouldn't have. The hunters stepped back. "What is this?" Zephyron didn't know. Rian didn't know. But it was something old. Something dragons weren't supposed to use without their full power. A burst of silver light shot from Zephyron's body, knocking the hunters into the metal walls. Their rifles skidded across the floor. Rian stared, stunned. "Zephyron, what was that?" The dragon panted, body shaking. "I don't know. I have not felt this fire since before the fall." But the moment didn't last long. More hunters stormed in. 5, then 7, then 10. The leader stepped forward, tall and cold like a walking blade. "You think you can fight us?" the leader hissed. "Your dragon is broken." Rian stepped in front of Zephyron again. His hands shook, but his voice didn't. "Maybe he is broken, but broken things can still bite." Zephyron lifted his head slowly. His voice was quiet, deep, sharp. Come closer and find out. The hunters raised their weapons. Rian grabbed a metal panel from the floor and held it like a shield. Zephyron, brace yourself. Zephyron pushed with his legs. The metal brace Rian built earlier sparked, cracked, and then held. Weak, shaking, barely working, but it held. The dragon rose one more time, body trembling but upright. The hunters hesitated. Just a second, but it was enough. Zephyron exhaled. Not fire, not lightning, just pure dragon fury, a shockwave of air and energy that blasted the first line of hunters backward. The leader roared, "Contain it." Grenades flew. Energy nets fired. Electric chains shot forward. Rian shouted, "Duck." Zephyron collapsed again, the brace finally snapping in two. The chains missed his head by inches. Rian dragged himself forward and tried pulling the broken nets off Zephyron's wings. The dragon groaned. His body shook violently. Rian's hands burned from the electric shock, but he kept pulling until the nets ripped. Zephyron looked at him with pained eyes. "You fight for me," he whispered. Rian nodded. "Always." The hangar shook as more enemies entered. Zephyron's breath came hard and fast. He was weak. He was hurting. He couldn't stand again. But his eyes were brighter than ever. "Human," Zephyron said slowly, seriously, "retreat. Finish the brace. When I rise again, I will burn the sky for you." Rian swallowed hard. "You won't face them alone." Zephyron's claws gently touched Rian's arm. "You already stand with me. That is enough." Before Rian could protest, the dragon's tail whipped around and slammed the ground, knocking dust and metal everywhere. A temporary cloud of debris filled the air. It was cover. Their only chance. "Go," Zephyron whispered. Rian sprinted back to the workshop table. The hunters advanced through the dust. Zephyron faced them alone. Broken, bleeding, but not afraid. The enemies came for blood. But the dragon, even lying on the ground, still had the heart of a sky king. The sky awakens. The hangar shook as the hunters pushed through the dust cloud. Their red visors glowed like angry stars. The leader stepped forward, his armored boots echoing across the metal floor. Zephyron lay on the ground, wings crushed beneath his body, the broken brace scattered beside him. He looked defeated, but his eyes burned hot with something the hunters didn't understand. Not strength, not rage, something deeper. Purpose. Rian scrambled at the work table, grabbing tools with trembling hands. Metal plates, wires, clamps. Everything shook as he worked faster than he ever had in his life. He whispered to himself, come on, hold together." Outside the ship, the hangar lights turned red. Alarms blared. The buyer's hover transport powered up its cannons. Zephyron watched Rian through the chaos. "You cannot save me," the dragon whispered. Rian didn't look up. "Watch me." The final confrontation. The hunters spread out. "Surround the creature," the leader ordered. "End this." 10 armored killers advanced, weapons humming. Rian felt every second slipping like water through his fingers. He tightened the last bolt, sparks flying. Behind him, Zephyron dragged his claws across the ground, pulling himself forward, just enough to place his body between the hunters and Rian. The leader laughed. A dragon protecting a human? Pathetic. Zephyron lifted his head, silver eyes glowing brighter than ever. "I protect what I choose." The leader raised his rifle. "Then die with him." The first shot fired. Zephyron shoved his body sideways, taking the blast in his already broken wing. The impact burned through scale and metal, sending smoke into the air. "No!" Rian shouted. The dragon gritted his teeth, but didn't move from his spot. Rian grabbed the new brace, a stronger, reinforced version made from the hangar's toughest metal, and sprinted toward Zephyron. "Hold still," Rian yelled. Zephyron growled in pain as Rian locked the brace around his spine. Sparks flew, but the metal held. The dragon inhaled sharply. "This feels different." "It is different," Rian said. "Stronger, faster, better." The hunters closed in. Rian tightened the last lock. "Now stand." Zephyron pushed his claws into the ground. The brace trembled, creaked, glowed. And then the dragon rose. Not inches, not halfway, fully, standing for the first time since his fall from the sky. The hunters froze. The leader whispered, "Impossible." Zephyron stretched his wings. Painful, shaking, cracked wings, but supported now by metal and Rian's stubborn hope. Rian stepped back, breathless. "You're standing," he whispered. Zephyron looked down at him. "For you." The battle ignites. The hunters opened fire. Zephyron roared, a sound so loud the walls cracked. He swung his tail, smashing 3 hunters into the steel crates. Another fired an electric net. Zephyron spread his wings, the metal joints catching the attack and snapping it apart. Rian dodged behind machinery, grabbing a thick cable like a whip. When a hunter charged him, he swung it across the enemy's legs, tripping him. Zephyron exhaled a gust of compressed air, slamming another hunter into the wall. But the leader stayed back, watching, waiting, analyzing. He raised a massive cannon. "Dragon," he hissed, "you were broken once. I will break you again." Zephyron snarled. "Try." The leader fired. A blast of red energy shot across the hangar like a burning comet. Rian shouted, "Zephyron!" The dragon moved. Not fast, not perfectly, but powerfully. He leaped into the air just a little, just enough to dodge. The blast tore through the ground. Zephyron landed heavily, shaking the hangar. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. He spread his wings wider. Metal braces sparked. Joints whined. Energy pulsed through his spine. His wings lifted. Higher. Higher. Rian stared. "You're doing it." Zephyron's voice rumbled like thunder. "I feel my sky." The leader aimed again. "No!" Rian grabbed a wrench and hurled it at the cannon's vent. Clang! The vent cracked. The cannon overheated. The leader stumbled, shouting, "You worthless human." Zephyron roared so loudly the hunter fell silent. Silver energy crackled along the dragon's wings. Rian whispered, "Fly, Zephyron, fly." The sky returns. The dragon bent his legs. The new brace glowed bright. Metal braces aligned, and Zephyron leapt. A powerful jump, a desperate jump, a final jump. His wings caught the air. They trembled, fought, struggled. Then they lifted him. Zephyron rose, his shadow climbing the hangar wall like a storm reborn. The hunters stared in fear. The leader screamed, "Shoot it down." Too late. Zephyron soared, weakly, painfully, but truly, across the hangar roof. Snow and dust swirled around him. He had flown. He had taken back the sky, even if only for seconds. It was enough. The dragon swooped down, smashing into the leader with a force that shattered his armor. The hunter flew across the hangar, hitting the wall so hard the metal dented. Zephyron landed beside Rian, wings shaking. Rian ran a hand across the dragon's scales, tears in his eyes. "You did it," he whispered. "You really did it." Zephyron lowered his head. "No, we did." The remaining hunters fled into the storm outside. The buyer's transport lifted off, abandoning the mission. The hangar fell silent. Only Zephyron's breathing and Rian's shaking laughter filled the air. The promise. Zephyron lowered himself carefully so Rian could place a hand on his snout. "I fell from the sky once," the dragon said softly, "but you made me rise again." Rian smiled. "Guess we're partners now." Zephyron's silver eyes glowed warmly. "My sky is your sky now," Rian whispered. "Then let's go claim it." Zephyron spread his metal-supported wings. Not perfect, not whole, but alive. Together, they stepped into the cold night. A dragon reborn, and a mechanic who refused to give up. Their legend was only beginning.